The neighborhood potluck was meant to be a simple gathering. Burgers on the grill, folding chairs scattered across our cul-de-sac, and a cooler of drinks keeping everyone satisfied. My wife Alyssa had volunteered to bring garlic lemon chicken skewers and her famous potato salad. I manned the grill while she floated between neighbors, making small talk and refilling plates. Enter Karen, not her real name, of course. Her name's Sheila Buttermore, but everyone in the HOA calls her Karen for a reason. President of the HOA for 3 years running, Sheila is the kind of person who measures your grass with a ruler and once issued a fine to a neighbor for having overly whimsical Halloween decorations. That evening, she strutted into the potluck in a floral wrap dress, heels too high for pavement, and a clipboard, yes, a clipboard, tucked under one arm. She didn't bring a dish. She never does. Halfway through the evening, she zeroed in on Alyssa near the food table. "Excuse me," Sheila huffed, arms crossed. "I requested a grilled salmon plate, light on seasoning, with a side of kale salad. I didn't see my name on a serving tray." Alyssa blinked, unsure if this was a joke. "We all brought food to share. You were welcome to bring your own dish. I didn't get any special orders." Sheila's lips tightened. "I'm allergic to garlic. Everything on that table reeks of it. You should have checked with me. As HOA president, my dietary preferences should be taken into account." I overheard part of the exchange and stepped in. "Ma'am, this is a neighborhood potluck, not a catered HOA gala." That set her off. She turned red as the picnic table's checkered cloth, huffed dramatically, and stormed off, but not before muttering something about how people like you don't respect leadership. We thought that was the end of it. 15 minutes later, 2 police cruisers rolled up with lights flashing. Officers stepped out, scanning the gathering. One made a beeline for Alyssa. "Ma'am," he said. "We received a call about a verbal assault and refusal to accommodate a medical dietary restriction. Can we talk?" The party went silent. Alyssa stared in disbelief. Karen stood across the cul-de-sac with her arms folded, nodding solemnly like she just saved the neighborhood from a crisis. "Are you serious right now?" Alyssa asked the officer. He sighed. "I wish I wasn't, but once a call's made, we've got to follow up." The drama was just getting started. The officer led Alyssa aside while the rest of the neighborhood watched like it was the season finale of a crime drama. I followed close behind, but not too close. Didn't want to spook the officer. "She called us saying you intentionally endangered her health," he said, flipping open a small notebook. "Claimed you knew she had a severe garlic allergy and taunted her with contaminated food." Alyssa nearly laughed. "That's insane. I've never had a conversation with her about her allergies. She just showed up and assumed I was taking orders like I'm a waitress." "I believe you," the officer said under his breath. "But she used the phrase, deliberate endangerment. That's something we have to note." Meanwhile, Karen, Sheila, was speaking loudly enough for half the neighborhood to hear. "I specifically said no garlic. She ignored me. It's not just inconsiderate, it's criminal negligence." One of the officers, clearly more seasoned, walked over to her. "Ma'am, can you provide any medical documentation of your allergy?" Karen huffed. "Why should I have to prove anything? I pay HOA dues like everyone else." She suddenly pulled out her phone and began recording. "This is harassment. I'm the only one here being treated like a criminal when she's the one who tried to poison me." The neighbors began murmuring, some hiding smiles behind plastic cups. Someone whispered, "Didn't she eat garlic bread at last month's mixer?" Another added, "She's just mad she didn't get a personal entree." The officer gave me a look, the kind that says, "We've dealt with her before, haven't we?" Eventually, Alyssa and I were cleared. No citations, no formal warnings. The younger cop even apologized before they left. But Karen wasn't done. As the cruisers pulled away, she stomped across the lawn in her wobbly heels, pointing a manicured finger in Alyssa's face. This isn't over. I'm filing a formal HOA complaint. And I'll be recommending you both for censure at the next board meeting. Censure? Alyssa repeated. For potato salad. You'll see, Karen snapped. You think this was embarrassing? Just wait until your names are removed from the block party list in the newsletter. You'll be invisible. With that, she spun around and stormed off, nearly tripping over a garden hose someone accidentally left in her path. Alyssa sighed. Remind me again why we didn't buy a place with no HOA. Because you liked the wraparound porch, I said. She groaned. Not worth it. But Karen was already cooking up her next act of neighborhood theater, and we were about to get front row seats. 2 days later, we found a bright orange notice taped to our front door. In bold, red font, mandatory HOA emergency session, allegation review. Underneath, location, Sheila Buttermore's living room. Time, 6:30 p.m. Dress code, business casual. Business casual for a living room ambush. Alyssa rolled her eyes so hard I thought she might strain something. This woman has absolutely lost it. She's holding a disciplinary hearing over grilled chicken. I muttered, crumpling the notice. You coming? Oh, I'm not missing this, Alyssa said. I'm wearing my sorry I'm late, I didn't want to come shirt. At 6:30 sharp, we arrived to find Karen's living room rearranged like a courtroom. Folding chairs lined the walls. Snacks sat untouched on a lace-covered table, and a whiteboard at the front read, HOA disciplinary hearing, food misconduct and resident hostility. Karen sat in a wingback chair that screamed self-importance, flanked by 2 HOA board members, Greg, who looked terrified to be there, and Lisa, who wore a wine o'clock sweatshirt and didn't look up from her phone. Thank you for coming, Karen began, her voice oozing with theatrical control. Tonight, we address a grave incident involving our community values and garlic. Alyssa muttered under her breath, this is garlic court now. Karen continued, as documented in my 911 call and witnessed by several guests, I was denied a safe, non-toxic food option. I will now play back the audio of my emergency call for the record. She clicked her phone and let it play aloud. 911, what's your emergency? Yes, this is Sheila Buttermore, HOA president. I've been assaulted with allergens intentionally. I am at risk. Please send officers immediately. It went on for 2 full minutes. Alyssa didn't say a word. She didn't have to. Karen's words were hanging themselves. When it ended, Greg coughed awkwardly. I'm not sure how this fits HOA policy. Karen scowled. Intentional negligence is a form of harassment. Section 4B of our Community Courtesy Code clearly outlines the importance of dietary sensitivity at all HOA events. Lisa finally looked up. Karen, we didn't even have a Section 4B until you typed it into the newsletter last week. Karen's face twitched. The point is, these two have violated the spirit of our community. Alyssa raised her hand. Can I speak? Karen blinked. This isn't a Q&A. Too bad, Alyssa said, rising. You made it a public hearing. That means we get to respond. And I brought visual aids. She pulled out her phone, and suddenly Karen's composure cracked because what Alyssa had recorded was about to blow this drama wide open. Alyssa tapped her phone screen and held it up. Before we get labeled garlic aggressors, I think the board and the neighborhood should see this. The video began to play. It showed Sheila, aka Karen, at last month's HOA wine and cheese night, hosted right in her backyard. There she was, laughing, with a glass of Pinot in one hand and a garlic crostini in the other. Alyssa paused the video. Look familiar? This is the appetizer table at your event, featuring garlic tapenade you specifically told me to try. She hit play again. Karen took a generous bite, then turned to someone off camera and said, clear as day, garlic makes everything better. Unless you're a vampire. Greg actually snorted. Lisa looked like she was about to spit out her gum. Karen's face went pale. That was before I developed the allergy. Alyssa raised an eyebrow. In 2 weeks. I have a sensitive system. It's seasonal. Greg coughed. Karen, this video kind of contradicts your police report. Karen's voice rose. That's irrelevant. You all saw her tone. Her attitude. She's toxic to our neighborhood spirit. Lisa stood up. Nope. What's toxic is wasting everyone's time with your personal vendettas. She turned to us. You two didn't do anything wrong. And Karen, this isn't your private fiefdom. Karen shot to her feet. Excuse me. I built this HOA. I founded the community barbecue calendar. Greg raised his hand. And I'm officially making a motion to dismiss this ridiculous hearing. And strike the false report from HOA records. Seconded, Lisa said, raising her hand without looking up. Karen looked like her whole internal wiring short-circuited. You can't do that. I'm the president. Greg shrugged. Well, now we'll be voting on new leadership at next month's meeting. The room began to empty fast. Neighbors who'd come for the drama slipped out, chuckling. Karen stood frozen, clutching her clipboard like a life raft. As we walked out, Alyssa turned back and smiled sweetly. Next time, Sheila, just bring your own food. Maybe something seasonal, like humble pie. Karen didn't say a word. Back home, we curled up on the couch, still in disbelief over how a missing salmon plate escalated into a neighborhood tribunal. Think she'll call the cops again? I asked. Alyssa laughed. Only if I dare to bring peanut butter cookies next time. And with that, peace returned. At least until the next HOA newsletter arrived. Because with Karen, drama was always just one snack away. If you think Karen's garlic emergency deserves an Oscar for most dramatic overreaction, hit that like button. Got your own HOA horror story or neighborhood drama? Drop it in the comments. We're building a whole library of madness here. And hey, if you want to see how this garlic war turns into a full-blown courtroom HOA circus, don't forget to subscribe, because next time she might call 911 over a missing dessert.